I've created a world for myself, and here there's a person who actually understood that world without me doing anything. And yeah, he's my happy place. I think I feel the sexiest I've felt in my life. I've never felt this desirable as I feel today.
Tamannaah, it's so lovely to have you back on Film Companion.
Thank you.
It's a big month for you. There's a series, Jee Karda, on Amazon Prime. There is, of course, the anthology Lust Stories 2 on Netflix. What is your current state of mind?
Petrified.
Why?
I think I've waited really long to have this very different version of myself being put out there. And I think for once my choices have been very intentional. And I wanted that to happen. I think the last chat that we had at Cannes, I think I've been daydreaming very specifically. Like I want this and I want it like that. And now when it's all coming together, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be excited? Am I supposed to? So I'm like, I'm a ball of emotions right now. And honestly, I'm not even trying to hide it because I'm like, ab hai.
You're enjoying it.
I'm loving it. I'm like,
But when you say your choices are intentional, were they not till now?
I think in the beginning of my career, of course, when I worked in the southern film industry, the parts were a certain kind. And definitely it was what was being made then. Like in 10, 15 years ago, the kind of parts that were being made and the kind of roles that we're getting today, उसमें बहुत फर्क है.
Yeah,
thankfully. Thankfully, बहुत फर्क है. And I think there was a commercial space that I made a mark in, which is a difficult market to crack. And I don't know who I was having this conversation with, but we were talking about people don't understand कि South का market कितना मुश्किल है crack करना या the girls who kind of come from Mumbai or Delhi and they come to a city where you don't speak the language, you leave your families behind, you leave your world behind, and then you kind of make another place your own. And I did that very, very young. So I feel like I was first trying to make sure that I become powerful in a place, so I command what I want. And I did exactly that. So in that capacity, I could be intentional, but not really in the choices of films. Because वो बन नहीं रहा था तो like right now I really wish कि मैं actor के साथ writer भी होती. That's really like the times I want, it's like an itch. I'm like shit, I wish I was a writer because the ability to write वो नहीं है. But I don't know, we might have to just cultivate this new ability.
Create your own material.
Yeah, I mean, considering I've been thinking about this and I was like, क्या करें? I mean, अगर parts नहीं है तो क्या खुद लिखें?
Yeah.
Because that's not a bad idea.
No, and a lot of women have done it.
At least the seed of what you want to say.
Yeah.
So for example, I moved into a new apartment last year, which I...
in Mumbai?
In Mumbai, yeah. I've always lived in Mumbai all my life.
So you never moved to Hyderabad, or when you were doing a lot of Telugu cinema, you never actually moved?
No.
It was always, base was here?
Yes. I've always had a home in Mumbai. I've schooled in Mumbai.
Of course, you're a Bombay girl.
I'm a Bombay girl. But I moved into a new house. And 3 years ago, I had this very strong visual that मुझे ना अपने घर के balcony पे एक jacuzzi चाहिए.
Oh,
that was like a daydreaming moment I had. I was like, ये सब लोग Maldives चले जाते हैं, अगर Maldives घर आ जाए तो क्या होगा? So this was my, and it actually happened. Like a couple of days ago, I was sitting in the jacuzzi and I was like, you know what? It's so important for us to daydream. It's so underrated.
I love it.
It's so underrated. And
but गर्मी नहीं लगती just as a?
गर्मी के लिए था वो. Because जब मुंबई में गर्मी होती है तो जकूजी में बैठो and I have a shower on the top of it.
Nice.
So I think I created a little Maldives in my house.
That's fab. The other thing that I thought was really fab was that clip of Lust Stories 2, where the seniors are singing Jab Koi Baat Bigar Jaye, and you're sort of swaying along with them, and there's just such sweetness in it. What is the joy of a short like that versus the long form in which you're spending, with Jee Karda, where you're spending months and months and months with the same character?
Yeah.
How do the two formats kind of, work a different muscle for you as an actor?
Yeah. I think that's a really, I'm glad you asked this question because I think I was pondering over this a few days ago. So in the long format, I realized I had to really slow down. Even the way I thought, even the way I moved, I did not feel the need to intensify my emotions to present something. I felt like I could really take all that time to express something because it's supposed to be said in a longer space of time. So you don't
Because
need to
there is the
reveal.
duration.
There is the duration. So also the
So you mean you hold back as an
I
actor?
hold back, yeah. While I'm performing, I think not giving it away, especially the kind of scenes I've had in Jee Karda, it's a lot of there's a lot of subtext to it. There's a lot of internal conflict. There's a lot of verbal stuff going on, but दिमाग में कुछ और ही चल रहा है. So I think that was very, very interesting for me to, in the longer format, kind of play that subtext out as loudly as the verbal context was. So when you hear me speak and there are two tracks going on and you can see that there are two different tracks in one person, which often happens to all of us because दिमाग कहीं और होता है और हमारी body और
you're not
we
present.
are not present.
Yeah.
Which happens to us many, many times. So I think this was that kind of a character where I had to keep the subtext as strong as what was verbally being said. But with Lust Stories, it's the exact opposite because it's really quick.
It's contained.
It's very, very contained. You have very little time to tell too many things. So I kept it potent. I kept every time I came on, there was a lot of emotion that was just pumped. Is why you see just like few shots of, her being really joyful, and I don't think I was anywhere. I never thought I wanted to go down in any emotion. Everything was on a upper note. But that's also the
film.
The film,
Yeah.
when you see the film, it'll make sense as to why.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to work with Sujoy, and I'm really happy that he thought of me for this part, especially because I have done literally no intimacy in my career or very little intimacy in my career. And I was that audience that would get awkward. And I was that audience that was like, मैं ये कभी नहीं करूँगी, मैं कभी नहीं kiss करूँगी on screen. I was that person. So for me, it's been an evolution, to kind of get out of that framework, which served a certain audience, because India is huge and there's so many parts of India that still needs to evolve. There's a lot of evolution that's happened already, thanks to even like the internet and social media. Everyone has information on their fingertips. But I do feel like, because everyone's consuming so much content, I felt like as an actor, I don't want this to be something that's holding me back. And this was purely creative endeavor. Because it's not like, abhi 18 saal ke baad I'm not trying to be famous. Like that's not the... That's not my endeavor.
That's not your driving
It's not my
force.
driving force.
Yeah.
I just want people to see me like from a bubbly bouncer, which is almost like a slightly androgynous character, to Lavanya, who is in Jee Karda, who's this Mumbai girl who's strong, hardworking, a perfectionist in a sort of way. And then into Lust Stories, which is hopefully going to make people lust about the show.
But the thing, Tamannaah, that sort of intrigues me about your career is that you played such a pivotal role in one of the biggest films this country's ever made, the first Baahubali film, right? And you, it wasn't like you were just one more character. You were a very strong character. You had great impact. That film changed Indian cinema, right? Why didn't it do more for you?
I feel like in action films, still the credit is always given to the male counterparts, which I think is fair because what that film does for, say, a Prabhas or a Rana is different than what it does for me. The amount of part I had also was like that. But I also feel like I did care a lot from that film. Maybe I did not at that point understand the magnanimity of it, or I wish it could have done more. But to be honest, I don't think it did any less. Like even today, the kind of feedback I get for Baahubali, it's unreal. The way people respond to it. So it's done a lot, but I feel like it's not just about what a movie does for you, but it's also what's your mental state at that point of time.
So do you feel you didn't leverage it enough?
Possibly, yeah. And I don't know why. Maybe I wasn't ready to, as an actor. I think you have to evolve as a person to be able to leverage anything. Until that doesn't happen, it doesn't come through in your performances. It doesn't come through in the way you handle things. I was doing a lot of work in the South. So I've done a lot of work. So it's not like I hadn't been working since then, or there was a break. In fact, I was doing 7 and 8 films a year, and it was bizarre schedules. But I feel like, yes, that film could have been leveraged so much more.
Are you now more focused on Hindi cinema?
Definitely not so much just a certain language, because I feel like that's so totally blurred out. That concept of...
And you were blurring it years before. Absolutely.
But I do feel like I'm not consciously trying to do Hindi films, but I just feel like यहाँ पर ना, there are sometimes, like there's some filmmakers I really want to work with, and I have that very clearly etched in my head, and I am that person today that I will go to that filmmaker and I'll say, I'm happy to take an audition, I'm happy to do what it takes to be the part and get it on merit. So yeah, I'm loving this version of myself, which is basically just going for what I want. And why not? Because I've done so much work now that I really want to do the work that I want specifically.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
So I read an interview, Tamannaah, that you did in 2014 with Silver Screen India. Okay. And you said, I think it's a matter of convenience when people say they get attracted to co-stars.
Yeah.
Huh? Because there's lights, it's hot,
It
there's
is.
a director screaming, hold her tightly, hold her tightly. How can anybody be attracted? As it turns out, that has changed, correct? With Love Stories too, things have changed.
Well, the thing is, I don't think you can get attracted to someone just because they're your co-star. I've had so many other co-stars in my life.
So that's what you mean.
Yeah, so it's
not that you're in such close proximity.
No, in fact, after doing a kissing scene, it demystified it for myself. It's like holding this cup and drinking coffee. It's literally like that. It is that. It's even more technical. You go back, you look at it, how have you done it, and then they will tell you how to correct it. So honestly, I was very happy I did it because it demystified it for me.
Yeah.
For an audience, though, I don't know. We don't want it to get demystified for you guys.
You want it to be.
We want it to be what it is. But for me as a performer, I was like, was I thinking all this for so many years? Like, what was I thinking even?
Right.
So that broke it for me.
Why was it such a big deal?
Why was it such a big deal?
Yeah.
And I think if one has to fall for someone or one has to feel something for someone, it's definitely more personal. It's nothing to do with what they do for a living or that's not the reason why this would happen.
So what I'm asking is, with you and Vijay, it was on the sets of Love Stories too, correct?
Yes, he's someone I really look up to, and I really he is someone with who I bonded very, very organically. He's someone who really came to me with all his guards down. And then it became really easy for me to put all my guards down. And, with high achieving women, we have this one problem कि हमको लगता है कि हर चीज़ के लिए hard work करना पड़ता है.
And this was easy.
No, so all my life I've always been in these equations which was so much work, because I thought, यार जब hard work करते हो ना तभी कुछ मिलता है, वरना कुछ नहीं मिलता. But when something is just so simple and you don't have to walk on eggshells to just be yourself. Because I think in India we also have this कि औरत है ना, उसको सब कुछ बदलना पड़ेगा, अपनी पूरी जिंदगी बदलनी चाहिए किसी के लिए.
Right.
However, whatever you've achieved in your life, whatever you've done, all that on the side. But if you have to find a partner, then you might have to physically move, you might have to do so many things that serve that person's understanding. But I was like, I have created a world for myself, and here there's a person who actually understood that world without me doing anything. So he's a person who I care about deeply. And And yeah, he's my happy place.
How lovely. That's so lovely. But let me ask you this. In my imagination, when two actors are in a relationship, I think like, oh, they must be having these deep conversations about craft and process and giving each other notes. Does that happen, or are you guys just like the rest of us?
You should ask him. Next time, and I know you know him better than, you know him longer than I know him. So
This is
actually,
true.
he will answer that question for you. I'm giving you like for your next interview.
But you have to give me your side of it.
No, I think it's very important. We're just people, and I think I'm a really simple person, and I think I'm very attracted to someone who's very simple, and he's brilliant at what he does.
He is. He's absolutely
He's someone
incredible.
I actually look up to as an actor, and his journey as an actor for me is literally like it's something that I hope someday is celebrated and like really spoken about, because I think his journey is incredible. Like he's finally getting the accolades he deserves. Everyone has always loved his work, but I think the accolades are in now. So I'm so happy that he's receiving that. But I think as different as we might appear as people, I think we're very simple actually. And we have we are very basic. I think it's friendship that is such a crucial part of any equation, I think. Essentially, I think just that someone you can laugh with, someone you can, laugh with about anything at like the loudest volume, where you sound like different animals, where you're laughing and it's really disturbing some people. I think that's a good. That's pretty
important.
much how it is most of the times.
But tell me, does the fact that he's so good, because I feel he's one of our finest,
Yes.
right? Does it ever irritate you? Tell you
Yeah.
why I'm asking. Because Katrina said to me once that, so she had this 3-page scene. She was prepping for Merry Christmas, the Sri Ram Raghavan film, right? And she was really stressed, and they had changed the scene. It was the next morning. So Vicky offered to help, to prep. Okay. She says he bloody looks at it for like 3.5 seconds, has it down, is giving me cues, and I'm just like, it's going to take me hours to learn it. But she said he has such a ease that he gets it instantly. And she said, I was so irritated. I was like, get out of the room. Do you ever have that?
I think both of us have, as actors and as people, I think that's one thing that we actually got along on, was that when someone just lets you be you, without trying to tweak anything which is not in your comfort.
Yeah.
I think relationships, I think in the past, which have been glorified, and kind of cinema or the kind of art or the kind of reading material that we've grown up on, it's always been about ownership. Love has been about ownership. But I think the kind of equation that I really feel brings me to the place I am today is where the person just lets you be you. And if I would do it a certain way, he wouldn't. Like he would let me shine. He would let me do what I want to do, and he would probably be like, okay, I'd take a tip or two, and I do the same to him. So I feel like it's very, when they're two fully like evolved people, I don't think you need to kind of direct. We both lived our lives. We don't really need someone to tell each other what to do.
Sure.
But I feel like that respect is so unspoken. It's funny, it's unspoken. It's not something. In fact, if you hadn't asked, I wouldn't have even realized this is happening. But it's just easy.
It's just there.
It's very easy.
That's great.
So I think women out there should just be like shining and just let things happen.
You said it's very hard to pass the fashion test in Bollywood.
Yeah.
And that you actually worked on it.
Yes.
You read and you sort of mindfully worked on a certain way to look, and you look great. And I know you work with Ami a lot, and you guys do amazing stuff. And of course, as an actor, you have to look presentable, right? But you are, of course, first an actor. So why is it important to pass the fashion test?
It's very funny, but I think since I was a young girl, why I wanted to become an actor. And when at 5 and 4, you don't understand acting kya hoti hai ya performances kya hote hain. But I still remember that Karishma Kapoor used to tie a kapda, on a pony.
Huh.
So I used to do that as a kid. And I realized that maybe her song, like
a little
Dancer
bandana
Wendy,
or something.
Yeah, it was on a pony. So it
Huh.
was a cloth that was tied on her pony.
Right.
And random things like the way Madhuri Dixit wore those very like transparent but
The
like
chiffons.
flowy chiffon saris or like dupattas. So I feel like it's music, it's sometimes what you wear that sometimes creates a spark in someone who doesn't even know that they have it. And it's non-verbal, it's not about the intellectual stuff. I know it's really nice when actors sit and talk about all the intellectual stuff around this, which is great. But sometimes to talk to a very large audience, sometimes it takes something very small. And sometimes it takes something might seem frivolous also. But I feel like this is a great way to kind of connect with people. And for me, fashion came to a point where it became like a way of expressing myself. I also feel like at some point, because we are all working with stylists, I'm sorry to say, but we all started looking like each other.
Yeah.
Which is, which was a feeling that I had. And I was like, but why? We're so unique and different. And I wanted to celebrate that. And for this entire season, I have had Shalina styling me. And I work with people who want to listen to me as to what I want to put out there. And I am spending the time, of course, with a lot of their, their skill and their talent of putting things together, curating things together. But at the end, the essence of all of that has to be me. Otherwise,
So it's an
it'll never be.
expression of you.
For sure.
And you know who's the other fashionista is Vijay. Like, who knew that?
I am not even competing. I am not. He's just too good, and I cannot. I just like let him. He will always show me what he's wearing, and I'm like, I'm never showing you what I'm wearing because I'm like, I don't want to know. He's too good.
Do you not want what? Because every time I interview him, I'm like, but I want to wear what you're wearing.
Yeah.
And he always says, I will tell you, I'll send you this number, I'll send you, and he never does. Huh? So he's not sharing. I'm telling you. This has happened a couple of times. I'm like, he's not actually sharing. But do you guys exchange like notes on that? Because I feel like he's really come into his own and there's a very distinctive style.
He does him beautifully. I think I think he does him. I watch.
You're admiring.
I'm admiring. Just like everyone else is admiring, I'm also admiring.
You know, you've been working, Tamannaah, since you were 13 or 14. Has there ever been a day where you just woke up and said, don't want to go on a set today?
No, actually, it was rather strange, and this is a story that you might want to know. Just before Last Stories, I was very sick the day before. So much so, I was bedridden. I had to cancel the first day of shoot. I couldn't make it for the first day. And it was like Rajiv sir and everyone was discussing that, are you in a physical condition to shoot this? And I was like, no, I'm not. But I had worked myself up to a point where I was like, this is something I want to do. And I do feel like sometimes when you have a vision to wanting to culminate something, like 10 things go wrong. I've seen that many, many times. Like it's as if something's holding you back. But it's at that moment when you just don't let that stop you. I honestly didn't know how I'll wake up and I'll go. Like there were conversations of, other people probably doing the story because I wasn't in a physical condition too. But I said, you know what, I want to work with Sujoy. I want to work with Vijay. I've done the look test. I've done the prep work for this.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. And if that, gives my co-actor a viral, so be it. So I was merciless.
Did you give him a viral? Or was everyone safe?
Everyone on set, I think, had built up an immunity thanks to the pandemic. So it was just me who was sick most of the times.
Now you're also doing films with Chiranjeevi sir.
Yes.
Bhola Shankar. You're also doing a film with Rajinikanth sir, Jailer. What is it like to be around that kind of outsized stardom?
I have to tell you that these two people are the kind of superstars that people think, right? Superstars ऐसे होते हैं, ऐसे ही होते हैं. मतलब they're simple, actually simple, actually accessible, approachable. understanding, giving space to the actor, helping the actor, making people comfortable. Like Rajni sir and I had one day of shoot together, and he literally bought me a book and gifted it to me, autographed it and gave it to me. I was like, that's just so thoughtful.
Wow.
And
What's
why
the
does
book?
he need to give me? It was about a spiritual journey.
Right.
And I was just flabbergasted. I was like, okay, so this is why they're this beyond, like you can't fathom the fandom that they have. It is because of this, because there is something so true, honest, and human about them that they connect with so many people. It's that the human element that I think they keep it intact so strongly. Even Chiranjeevi Garu, like he's someone who's encouraged me since the beginning of my career, even when I acted with Charan. And he works really hard. Even after achieving so much, I'm like, I want to be like this. Yeah. Even after spending so much time in the industry, I want to come at a point where I've done it all, but I want to work like a laborer. I want to toil, because we love this. It's not something we're doing to beyond the point, not trying to prove something to anyone. It's our own joy that we are actually chasing every single day. And when I see these two people, I think they embody that. For me, they are the true blue superstars, and they've left a lifelong impact on me.
But Tamannaah, when you do these films, and obviously it's early days and we don't know anything about these films, but just going by how it usually is, there's not a sort of sizable role for, these are star vehicles, right? And these are the stars. So when you do films like this, do you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to compromise on what I might want as an actor out of a film because I get to be in a frame with so-and-so? Does that happen?
So what happened to me was, when I was in these circumstances where it felt that it was, ornamental in nature, the character or the part was ornamental in nature, what I did is, instead of feeling like, अरे मेरा role छोटा है, अरे मेरे को एक ही shot या दो shot है, इतना ही है मेरे पास, I turned it around. I said, you know what, my one dance move will make everyone want to look back. And I decided there'll be one single shots that people will remember me for.
But are you at this point still willing to say to yourself, okay, this role, I will be the ornament, but I'll be the ornament that is just amazing?
So I feel like when I see artists like Beyonce or Jennifer Lopez, and at different stages of their career, we've seen them at their glamorous best. I think people have always said that it's the men that they get more glamorous as they grow older, but I think it's untrue. It's even for women.
Of course.
I think we actually get so much more into our sexuality as we grow older. And I feel that's happened to me. Like, I think I feel the sexiest I've felt in my life.
How lovely.
I've never felt this desirable as I feel today. And I feel like to channel that through a glamorous number or through something that you're doing on screen, I think it's a great opportunity. So it's interesting as to how we need to put that out.
Right.
That needs to be put out in the most aesthetic, in the most beautiful and a new way, because I think people today have very short attention spans, all of us. So I feel like you need to do something that is new, something that's unique. So yeah, that's how I would approach it.
So it's your perspective.
Yeah.
On what you can make of it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, finally, you're also a poet. What is it that inspires you to write? Because you're an occasional poet. That's what you say.
Yeah, because it only happens with pain.
Really?
Yeah.
Meaning when
I'm like, when there's a sense of helplessness, when there's a sense of, I don't know, it never really happens when I'm happy. It happens when I'm in like some kind of pain. So I'm too happy now, so I can't write anymore.
But that's wonderful, isn't it?
I mean, in a way, it's good. My ideas of becoming a writer are bleak if I'm this happy.
So you need to be in anguish to write.
Yeah, it's like, take your pain and make it art kind of a scene.
Take your broken heart and make it into art.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell? Stay happy. And thank you so much, Tamannaah.
Thank you.
The poetry can wait.
We have many more years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Tamannaah Bhatia, and subscribe to Film Companion for more of my videos.